on your station, Isaac 98.1 FM, The Promise. Madonnaj here in your company, and I'm very excited about my cast this evening. And one of them we've had before, and really amazing show at that time. And now he's here with another guest, Mr. Sebastin Moore, and I've got with me this evening the Honorable Dr. Adrian Woods, they call him. Very down to earth at that. And he's one of the authors of Why He Married Her and Played Me, the secrets to what he's thinking. So ladies, I know that it's something we always want to find out and get into the mind of men, you know, because we say that they don't talk much, and how do we get them to open up, and all these codes that we need to learn. Is there a book they can give you while you're in your teens? So there's some sort of preparation that can have us equipped. And so we live on Facebook, so we sent out the link. So you can check and so you all can share. It's on Isaac 98 The Promise. So you can share it with your friends and everyone as we go live. And these guys are all the way in Huston, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself. So I'll start with Dr. Woods. You can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Me, Doc Wood, the infamous. I have a couple of degrees, you know, I ain't nobody. Saying, wrote a couple books for Pete Coffee. Shout out to Pete Coffee, she's watching. Why she chose her and not me. You know, played her and not me. So this is how we do it. And that's about it. Houston, Texas.
All right, he's just playing down himself, which is humbling, but that's okay. And then we've got Sebastin Moore. Sebastin, you can tell us about yourself. Where you from?
Salutations. Yes, my name is Sebastin Moore. I'm the owner of Progress to Purpose Concierge Therapy and Agency that operates in the Houston area, primarily located in Richmond, for anybody that might know that. And we also service people through our BIP program, Battery Intervention Prevention Programming, for those people who are experiencing domestic abuse and those people who are trying to work their way out of that situation and facilitate those court-mandated needs for kids, for the couples, from sun up to sundown, here to help. And now I'm here to help you.
Excellent. And so I bought the book before, and I went back again today. And I'm like, where is the book? I had downloaded it on my daughter's Kindle, not being able to find it again. And obviously I have to peruse the book before again. And so I had to get another book. But that's okay, right? And so a lot of good information is in the book. So ladies, you know, in case, you know, we all went through some sort of breakup at some point in time. So I think it's a book that you would want to get, and it's available on Amazon, and you can get it on your Kindle. Why He Married Her and He Played Me.
Nobles, Amazon, in your bookstores, anywhere you can buy a book, you can pick up both copies.
All right, great.
I'll even sign it for you. You send it to Houston, I'll sign it for you.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, that's great. So we found out in times gone by, Doc, that, you know, you're married and you were very real about your relationship and when you got married and all that. And I'm just going through a snippet before I go, because I got the sample and I bought the actual book as well. And there's a part that you said a marriage in theory is supposed to be a solemn promise to care for your life's mate through all life's trials and tribulations. In modern times, though, society often seems a victim of the fictitious. That is so true, right? And how to make a slave. Man and woman have been put against each other, believing they don't need each other. We need them, okay? We know that we need them. I heard a young lady the other day. I had her on my show. She's single. She's a single professional, and she had someone helping her, somebody from church helping her at home. Well, she said this, so I could repeat it, okay? Because she said it on radio. And she said that she was when while he was helping her, she was like, this feels good, having a man around is not too bad. you know. And actually that evening my show was about professional women in the church and why men think that they are so unapproachable. So maybe you all could touch on that as well. And if you think they are, right? And why is it perceived so inaccurately, right? And a lot of them, can do household chores and cook, and not all of them is about the fast food and that kind of thing. So that was like a myth, because each one of them um, could cook and loves to do that type of thing, which we're hearing the nowadays woman.
I don't know. I think what you're talking about is rare nowadays.
You see, and
Most women see, and most women are taught that they can have it all. They can, I don't have to cook and get married. I don't have to, do this, and he should love me anyway for who I am. So I can shave all my hair off tomorrow, even though he likes my long hair. If he don't like it, he don't love me. That's their opinion. So when we wrote this book, we wanted to give you a man perspective. You got to think about it.
Mhm.
Women, let me give y'all a secret. Y'all make us more complicated than we really are.
we make it more complicated.
Yeah.
You know what I should have done though, but I'll do it another time. I'll have them on, because hearing this is what we are told, right? And I know a lot of men would have been surprised. Each one of them, and I'm telling you, professional women. Two of them actually are still virgins and in their 40s. Um, One own a business, well, passed on, and the other, she's a professional as well. And it was just so amazing of hearing, how we were brought up, and that is still with them, and they love doing household work, and they still, are
But
professionals
when are
on their
they going to
jobs.
do it? But when are they going to do it? You saying, what women don't understand is you have to make a choice. We all have to make a choice. The more time you spend at work is the less time you have at home. The more time you spend at home is the less time you have at work. Keeping that balance is not easy. And nowadays, women are told if you don't have a job, you're nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You're a slave to the man. Being a housewife is not what it used to be.
Wow. But then whose fault is that? Then it would have to be case by case, because is it the majority of women are being told that now, so hence the reason they push to be professionals? And is it because the men aren't stepping up? So therefore they
I'm
are
gonna let my
forced
man
to do
go.
that?
More you
So
go ahead. I'm gonna
so
let you handle that.
I see his eyes opening up.
I'm gonna let more handle that.
So, more welcome to Trinidad and Tobago, the beautiful island of the sun. I'm playing some pan music in the background. It's our national instrument. Beautiful music. Yes.
Yeah, you guys are getting it started early, right out the gate.
Yeah. Adrian doesn't wait. He just goes, he jumps in.
Yeah,
I'm behaving tonight because Coffee would be like, oh man, there you go.
yeah, I mean, you get several like kind of touchy subjects right out the gate. So we're
Mhm.
talking about like independence and autonomy. We're talking about the balance between relationships and goals and what does it mean and the concept of having it all, which I heard was mentioned, and that alone in it of itself is kind of a tricky thing because you can have it all, but maybe not all at the same time.
Mhm.
And I think that sometimes, a lot of times actually, we're kind of taught, encouraged, pushed towards wanting to have it all at once and wanting the other person to accommodate us trying to get it all at the same time versus what needs to happen, which is that give and take that's necessary, right? Sometimes you're going to shine and sometimes I'm going to shine. But there's not a lot of that balance happening in relationships now. And there's not a lot of that being encouraged. It's a lot more of a, hey, I have goals and you can come along for the ride, or you're the one at a loss. Versus understanding that, hey, if we're to work together, then we can both survive, we can both thrive, we can both elevate. versus, what we're really being told, which is, you know, take it or leave it. And that's not the compatible, collaborative relationship you would want to have. Certainly not one that's going to be fulfilling in the long run.
Because, like you said, saying marriage is supposed to be a vow to one another, but now really it's an option. You know, it's an option. You don't have to get married. I think one time I seen an article about a woman who married herself. You know, and so when you marry me, I'm no longer your life mate. I'm no longer your partner. We live in a selfish society. So now, if you're not making her happy, if you're not doing what she likes for you to do, she's ready to kick you to the curb.
Wow.
So
Go
I
ahead.
believe there was a time that men didn't step up. I do believe. I'm from a single mother household. There was a time that there was a generation of men who did not want to do what they needed to do. But that now I hang out saying me and Mr. Moore, I'm saying we're good friends and people we hang out with are good fathers. So where's this stereotype now coming from?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty true. That the idea that it's a stereotype, it is true, but we kind of self perpetuate that. We highlight the ones that are not doing the job, the ones that are not being good husbands, the ones that are not, being good fathers. I can't think of any TV shows, maybe one or two, where the fathers are present and competent and a valued member of the family and have the same amount of input and influence in the family unit. I don't hear any. I don't know anybody. Mr. Woods, have you seen over the last few years?
Man, most I hear about, I'm trying to think for TV shows. No, we're fools. We're buffoons. We got Family Guy. We got even, I'm saying, good shows like Family Matters. I'm saying Carl, I'm saying he was, he was a police officer. He was always breaking something with Urkel. What kind of grown man hangs out with a 14-year-old and think that's appropriate?
That's very suspect.
Wow.
So saying
Oh
all these
boy.
women, we got girl power, black girls rock, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with women empowerment, but when you're taught that you're better than a man or you don't need a man, you get that mind frame. I can do this on my own. I don't
Which
need
is
you.
But it's hard
and
for us to do it on our own, so I don't understand how, well, no, I shouldn't say I don't understand. I hear it a lot as well. But just like I said with the young lady that was on the show the other day, and having that presence makes a difference, a
it does.
huge difference, right?
It,
And
Everybody can do good by themselves, but you do better with the right mate.
exactly. Better with the right A. Oh, that's a hallelujah. That's passing your friend basket right there with the right man. Yes. But
today, today.
yeah, right. But with all of that being said, then is it that we need to train our young ladies differently because we're preparing for revival 2022 here in Trinidad on Isaac 98.1 FM, and it's about the family, right? And I'm having meetings with different women and even mothers of the faith and that type of thing, and they did it different. They stayed it out. I'm hearing some testimonies and I'm like, wow, because going through what they went through nowadays, like you said, ladies, they won't take it, but it's not what we do, but it's how we do it. And I am trying to, what I'm getting persons to talk about, is it a black culture that we are supposed to be schooled differently in taking it down?
No, I think the culture, our culture, we are in the front lines. You know, when you see a black woman acting, I'm saying a fool, being a buffoon, who do you see? I'm saying we got, I'm saying world star hip hop, TikTok, Facebook. They're not in there giving good advice.
Yeah.
They're in there fighting, being
Mhm.
loud.
Mhm. Mhm.
Look at our role models. Saying you have saying what? Real Housewives of Atlanta,
Mm. Hmm.
hip hop, saying hip hop spouses or whatever the show's called.
Hmm.
It's all full of drama. It's
Yeah.
all full of
Staged
fighting
of
and
drama.
cursing.
Yeah.
They're not trading recipes and
Hmm.
how to treat your man.
Mhm. Wow. So is that something then that we need to come back to the church because it's scriptural? that the older women are supposed to teach the younger ones in any event,
Mm-hmm.
and some things still stand. Like for example, initially, and I'm sorry, my brothers aren't here, but I know people out there can testify. I'm a great cook, right? And and the friend was telling me the other day, looking at me, he would not have thought that I could cook. And I'm like, oh, please, my grandmother taught me, so I could cook real good. It's not just my mother. I mean, it's a generation before, right?
Okay.
And
We got
and
that for a moment.
and then the Caribbean flavor, it's different,
Yeah.
right? So it's just a perception as well sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
because we can't walk around in a professional environment saying I could cook, you know what I mean? But what I've learned is I worked with Canadians for years. I worked with the Canadian government for like 20 years. And they are softer in tone, the women. They
Mm-hmm.
aren't their voices aren't as strong as ours as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so in talking with them sometimes, you would yes, and because of how soft they speak, we would sound, as if we shouting when it's our regular tone, right? And then so you realize cultures are different. So that's why I spoke about that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it's very important for us to recognize that there are not only some cultural things, but some historical things that make us the way we are, right? We can't walk around thinking that you as an individual were born just this way. And then what's happening societally also influences what we think is normal, what's acceptable, what we should be doing. So yes, you should absolutely be training your sons as a man, and mothers should be training their daughters. And there was definitely a time where a lot of those things that were being taught were out of necessity. I had to teach you to be stronger because of our situation.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is when it becomes perpetuated and it's being done because that's what was done for me, not because that's what's needed now, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we sometimes struggle with understanding the difference between where I've come from and where we're going. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you teach someone based on that, or the other thing is if I'm teaching based on my hurts, I was hurt.
Ooh, that's a good
Someone
one.
didn't show up for me. Someone didn't do right by me. So then I'm going to make sure that you don't get hurt by that by instilling in you distrust, being mistrustful of people, second guessing people, not being willing to be
Wow.
vulnerable in those ways, being a quote strong black woman, and those types of things, then it makes it more difficult to get the thing that you actually need, which is the strong black man or a strong man or a man that will be there and be supportive and be a foundation for you and your family.
And then you got to look at it. People take the Bible and use it like it's a grocery store. They
Mm-hmm.
go in there and they pick and choose what they want. Oh, I like this. I don't want to eat this. Oh, this was nasty last time. And cause think about the word submissive.
Yeah, well, let's
You
go
saying
there now.
you saying you tell a woman, you're supposed to be submissive, and oh, I'm not submitting to nobody. Oh, da, da, da. And it's all that. But the word submissive does not really mean you're a slave, that you say
Yeah.
you do everything I tell you to do. That means that you follow a leader. And if you're
You trust
picking
me.
somebody who's equally yoked, what I'm saying, you should be following him not because he's cute, not because he has money, that his vision is the one that you can see benefiting both of y'all in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you're submitting to that vision.
Right.
But women don't take that like that anymore. They don't want to hear that. So they want to, I'm saying, they want to be on their own. So that's when they no longer, oh, we don't matter if we're equally yoked. Because a woman who's on your equal status is now going to tell you, I don't need you because I make my own money and I can do this, I can do that. And you're not going to follow my lead as a leader. So if I see us saving money or if I see us, moving here, you don't want that. It's like asking a woman, where do you want to go eat? They don't want it. I'm telling you, it's going to take like, I don't know where you want to go. But then when I tell you where I want to go, I don't feel like that.
Wow.
Wow.
So I think the big piece is when you're choosing, if we're talking about this man woman relationship, I think that you have to choose someone whose judgment you trust. And that's where the submissive part is. I'm submitting to, he said vision, I'll say judgment. But if you cannot trust this person's judgment in their own life, then certainly you would second guess trusting it, entrusting your life to them. But here's the thing, when you get vested with someone whose judgment you don't trust because you want to save them or fix them or because you think they're a project, then you're already out of order. So there's no way that you could follow their lead or trust their judgment because you're now in that position.
Wow. What caused you to?
And then so you automatically disagree. So what happens when you disagree? So you're married, you know what I'm saying? You've been married for quite a time, and now there's a disagreement. Do you trust his judgment? Or since you don't need a man, is what you want? What do you do?
Do you
As
think
a
a lot
woman,
of
what would you
influence? Do you think a lot of influence is no, I believe I need a man. Eh? I'm not one of those. Don't think.
But if y'all disagree, would you follow his judgment?
If we disagree, would I follow his judgment? If I've been following his judgment all along, and we disagree, and I know he gives good guidance where that is concerned, yeah, I'll follow his judgment because
See, so I was told by
I'm
women,
confident in him and who he is and his judgment call. Yeah.
And
that
that's a
sounds
good.
great, but a woman recently just told me if I want a car and he says no, I'm gonna go buy it anyway.
Ew. Okay.
So
That will cause
how's the man
problems
gonna
because
feel?
the Bible says, "How can two walk unless they agree?" So it's if we have the whole concept in mind to make it work, right, and be thinking about each other, then that should be something considered. You don't just go against it just because. Then that's just
Right.
causing riff.
Well, you have that new term. We're gonna agree to disagree. You really can't agree to disagree because it's still an argument.
It's crazy. Well,
You're just agreeing not to talk about it anymore. But if you're holding that, you know what I'm saying, animosity in your heart, it's
yeah,
still
that's
gonna be
wrong.
there. It's
Yeah,
not going anywhere.
yeah, yeah. It's
Or
not
to
being
agree
dealt
to
with.
disagree about something that's impacting our daily lives. I don't necessarily agree that I should, using his example, I don't agree that you should get the car. Well, I want the car. So then you go get the car. But that's impacting us. Even though one of us may be paying the note
Mm.
in some cases, that's still impacting the family finances because that's money that you don't have, which means that's money we don't have if
Well,
we're supposed
there's where I say she need to take it down because I had a friend on online once and she said that to us. Her husband wanted to purchase a house and it was in the area where we lived at that point in time. And we all say, boy, if we had did it, done it, then we'd be so much better off. And he wanted to get it, and she was like, no, I don't want to be living there and all that kind of thing. But he bought another one somewhere else, right? So they still end up moving back up to that present area, and the value escalated double, right? And obviously she pinched herself and she was like, sorry about it. But, he still got one, but it was in the same area. So she was saying if she had to do it again, of course she would listen to his judgment because he wasn't one to make a bad judgment call. You understand?
But as a man, you also got to be willing, if it didn't go that way, to say,
to.
babe, I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be man enough to do that. So next
Yeah.
time she understands, like, oh, he learned from his mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
want to throw in a caveat there because if we're talking about accountability, it's a lot easier because you want to get inside the mind of a man. It's a lot easier for him to come and say, "Hey, I was wrong." If before I have that opportunity, you jump in and question, second guess, tell me that I was wrong,
Got you.
bring it up, well, this is why if that is the energy that's in that relationship, then it's a lot harder for that particular guy to say because he doesn't have the room to acknowledge his wrongdoing or his short-sightedness or whatever the situation is. So for him to acknowledge it in that moment after he's been, chastised or second guessed, it's not accountability at that point,
Mm.
which is the whole purpose of what you would want from him.
And then
Right.
because you hear about these athletes who, I'm saying, they get money and people get upset because they go marry a person of a different race.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, oh, they couldn't handle it. They couldn't deal with it. It's not that they can't deal with it. They just want peace.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I meet somebody over here, I'm saying, I don't care what, race they are, they're giving me peace. So if you cannot be my peace at home, why do I want to go home to you?
Mm. I've been hearing that a lot, so I think that is something women should really grab and put that on the fridge because you're hearing a lot of men just saying that they just want peace. They would run as far as east from the west, and the Bible speaks about that. as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing how real and how relevant it is because it's something that a lot of men are saying now. So if you're listening under the sound of our voices, grab a hold of it because that is something that has come out a lot. We have heard about respect a lot. We have heard how much that means, but I'm hearing a lot of men talking about that peace, wanting that haven, wanting to be able to
But
go home
respect
and
goes
know that
along
is
with
it.
that piece.
Mm-hmm.
Respect goes most of that goes hand in hand. Once again, I heard like a man cannot be that simple. Well, really we are. We have those deep thoughts. We have ideas. But when it comes to just supporting our spouse, supporting our family, it is real basic. I'm saying we want to make sure that we are leading this family in the right steps so we can be safe, happy, and prosperous. That's it. So if you're happy, he's happy. So let's say me and you are together. You love going to the movies. I don't like going to the movies. So one day I said, hey, babe, let's go to the movies. A lot of women are going to say, I know you don't really want to go to the movies. We don't got to go. It doesn't matter about me at this point. The point is, you've asked to go to movies. I'm listening. I want to make you happy. Let's go to the movies. But now, since I didn't want to, I didn't understand you, it's a problem. That's complicating the situation.
But why do we don't just jump up and go to the movies? Because you are giving us your presents, and that's what we want. So
See,
definitely
this
we
sounds
run into
real
the
good.
movies.
I need you to give a class because this is not what you hear every day when you go out
What,
here and you talk to people.
yeah, certainly what's said more often is I want you to want to.
You gave us your presents. Now, I'll tell you. Good night to my men from Man Cave. I got this in the Man Cave. Good evening, Richard Lynch and Mr. Best and Mr. Fields. So I had this man cave, very, very strong alpha man, right? And I must say, I studied, I listened to it again and again because it was so valuable, the information that they brought to the table. That is why, Adrian, I can say to you now that they all give us your presence, and that is such a valuable thing when you all allow us into that space and how much we should appreciate it. So you find I'm a more appreciative now of understanding how much it means when you make that switch,
Mm-hmm.
right? And how much it means for you to consider, well, and that is because you're in that caring place. I listen to a lot of Steve Harvey. So so you're in that caring place as well, and for making that shift because of course we should embrace it and run with it. Definitely.
Yeah, take the win.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not a big hugger. Me and Mr. Moore have known each other for a long time. I've said it for a long time. I'm not a hugger.
Mhm.
My wife is super touchy feely,
Mhm.
right? She's the opposite. And we had to have a conversation. She was like, why don't you don't want to? You're not comfortable. I said, babe, stop asking me that. The point I want to do right now, what will make you happy? What if I laid on you and just lay on me? I'm saying because if you're giving to me, my goal is to give to you. It's supposed to be a two-way street. That's what it means by 50-50. It may not always come to making a decision, but I'm giving you 50% of my effort. You're giving me 50% of your effort. So we're whole. So really 100 and 100 because I'm giving you my effort, you give me your effort. We're together. 100 equals still equal a whole. However you want to put it. So stop thinking I need to want to or I have to like what you like. I don't have to. I just have to be willing to enjoy it with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so valuable. And more and more as we talk about relationships and understanding, the male perspective and how he thinks, then there could be a better cohesion in how we communicate with each other. This is so valuable. And I wish everybody, even on our Facebook, would grab a hold of it and all those that are locked on Facebook and on YouTube. Good evening. I'm here with Dr. Adrian Woods and therapist Sebastin Moore, all the way from Houston, Texas. And we're talking about relationships and, coming together and really making it work. Dr. Woods is married for 20 years plus. What, I know there would have been ups and downs, but what kept you so long? Because I just saw a part of the book where you said your wife was not an option.
No, she's not an option. So the option to walk away is not there. Marriages end when two people stop changing. You have to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to work, if, let's say, once again, we're married, and I'm just gonna make it real simple. You like pizza, I like Chinese food. Okay? If you don't agree to eat Chinese food sometimes, our marriage is not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not willing to go over there and eat pizza sometimes, our marriage is not gonna work because there's no compromise.
Right.
And so divorce is rising because people, we live in a selfish society. My wife is not an option. We've been through some hard times. And she even asked me one time, why are you still with me? Because I love you, woman. So let's work this out.
Mhm.
Because if it has to be just your way or just my way, this is not going to work.
Right. And I think
So
that's
you
the
might as well just leave now because all we're going to do is argue because all I'm going to care about is my way and all you're going to care about is your way.
yeah, and that's the struggle, right? We want to have it our way. And for us, a lot of times it feels like, that essentially at the core of it, that someone wants it to have their way and they want the other person to want their way as well. And so
Wow.
anytime we get stuck in that space, yeah, it's very hard to compromise. I worked with someone years ago and they said in relation to their relation, in talking about their relationship, that hey, marriage is compromise. As long as you know that you're the one that's got to compromise, you'll be all right. And that
Wow.
really struck me as a little disheartening that that person felt like they only had to compromise and that their partner had no part in the relationship and compromising. It's very one-sided, and a lot of times that is in fact the case, and that's what's very frustrating and what causes a lot of what we're talking about today.
Hmm. How important is
You have,
communicating? Go ahead, Adrian.
you have to get rid of self. That is hard for anybody to do, to get rid of self. And what does that mean? Like you forget about yourself? No. You don't try to make yourself happy? No. You have to be happy. But if your happiness is your only priority, if I'm saying your freedom is your only priority, with whatever you believe in is your only priority, you're not thinking about the other person. If you can see that person hurt and walk away, is that love?
Hmm.
Because what's the definition of love?
Hmm.
I'm gonna ask you as a female, what is your definition of love?
Patient, kind.
Yeah.
I will go down the whole selfless. You can't be thinking about yourself all the time.
And
Yeah.
these are all actions,
Yes.
because love is an action verb.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't just, it's not a noun, it's not a proper noun. It's an action verb. I love you. Does that make sense?
An action,
So
yes.
you have to show somebody you love them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to treat somebody with love.
Wow.
You just don't. You fall in love. You just don't just wake up and say, "Man, I'm in love today," and I'm just gonna sit here and do nothing.
That has to be
Because
backed
if
up
you,
with some action.
Yeah.
I'm saying, and not just from the man,
Right.
because how many
That's
women think it's just us?
Yeah. It has to go both ways. And so when people say actions speak louder than words, my first question is which actions are we talking about?
Wow. The positive actions, of course.
Ideally.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally. But generally when people say actions speak louder than words, they're not talking about the positive actions.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's not talk about the positive.
Okay.
Go ahead, saying, break it down for me, Mr. Moore.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you have conversations with folks and you find yourself in a conflict, you'll find that people use that as a descriptor, like, "Hey, you're doing things that are hurtful or frustrating to me," and then that person on the other end says something along the lines of, "Hey, I'm here for you. I want to be with you," and then the response is, "Well, actions speak louder than words." meaning that in that moment, the words that you're saying to me do not match what I'm seeing from you
Right.
in your actions, which is fine. That's a conversation to be had. But the question you have to ask yourself is, am I only looking at those actions that don't match, or am I looking at all the actions? And sometimes, if we look at all the actions, you might find that it's really balanced, or this person might be doing more good than harm. But we only say it when it's a problem. We don't look at actions when things are going good. We're just enjoying it. Then when things go bad, now we're assessing the problem.
And thinking like a man, when a woman says, "You're not treating me right," it's not usually based on a man's perspective.
I have a
If
question.
I
Go
if I
ahead,
bring you
Doc.
flowers,
Mm-hmm.
hmm?
Go ahead.
if I bring you flowers and saying you don't like them, so I'm not treating you right, whose perspective is that from? To me, I brought you flowers that I thought you would like them, but to you, it's not good enough.
I
If I
guess it's
open the door
understanding
for
her
you, some
language.
women nowadays, if you open the door for them, they get mad.
Which woman
But
are
you're
they
trying to
talking
show
to?
it happens.
Yeah, that does happen though.
Okay.
That,
Ladies, you all hearing this kind of stuff? We Trini women no, we won't. And we got people locked on from Boston. I'm now looking at my WhatsApp because I'm so engrossed in the different conversations. Good evening, everyone. And I think you all can speak up a little louder because I'm getting they're hearing you soft, but I have the volume up
Deep
very
soft.
loud. Yeah. I have the volume up very loud. So,
Hardly ever soft, but okay,
right. And so I have a question. And this was something some men were saying. A single woman in her 40s, they tend to look at a particular way, but a single man in his 40s, it's okay. Why is that?
Give me an example.
For example, something have to be wrong with her. Why is she single? But he's single, nothing wrong with him.
yeah. Well, mind you, a lot of this conversation today is coming from a personal standpoint with the hint of professional, but understand that traditionally, historically, as a general rule, obviously not 100% of the time, women generally are wanting to be in committed relationships earlier and more often than the average guy. So, if your goal, if you're one of those people where your goal is to be in a relationship, whether you've expressed that or not, and we all know that that's your goal, and you not quote achieve the goal, then the unfortunate assumption might be something's wrong. Whereas the average guy is not thinking about long-term committed relationships at as early an age as the average girl. So he potentially values and enjoys the singleness that he's experiencing in that space. And then another piece, and again, this is personal, it appears to be more appealing to women, that particular guy, when that's not necessarily the case the other way around. Mr. Woods, what are your thoughts?
Because women want to be able to fix him. And another author, Mr. Baker, he's waiting for you to let him in. Another author, we got another author coming in.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
They want to fix a man. Oh man, he's a player. He's been a player for a while. I can fix him. I can heal him. He treated all the other women bad, but he gonna love me, which is a fallacy from the beginning. You can't change it. And I think the diagramic, I'm saying that has changed. A man in his 40s, women are gonna look at him like, yo, how many kids he got?
Well, we expect him to have kids. I don't know. I'm sorry, but we do. We think something is wrong if he doesn't have kids if he's in his
Exactly. So
40s.
that stigma has changed. It's no longer what's wrong with the woman. It's what's wrong with that man too. How many times he been divorced? How many kids he got? What kind of job he got? There's something wrong with him. He don't have a woman. And women start looking for a mate way sooner than a man. I was married at 21 years old. I didn't like being married till I was 26. You know what I'm saying? At 21, I was like, man, what did I do? Oh my goodness. She getting on my nerves. I can't go to the store or the mall without her asking me questions. At 26, I was like, hey man, this ain't that bad, you know? I come home, there's a cooked meal and house clean and I get to kiss on her. This ain't too bad. This ain't too bad. But it took me a while. And well, you know, they ready from the beginning. As soon as your daddy call you a princess, you ready to be a wife.
Wow. You know, that is amazing hearing you say that as well, even for the young men that are listening and wanting to keep it real, because they wouldn't come out and say it like that, but it's probably felt that way at some point in time. But you stayed, you know, and that is what you know, we were talking about yesterday with the woman about, you know, staying and really putting everything in because you have a long-term goal. And that is amazing.
Everybody you got to put in, though. Like I said, like you said earlier, it's a selfish society. We are microwave society. We want it now. If it's not right now, I want to leave.
Wow, that's
you know.
Yeah.
So if you don't find a man who's making 6 figures, he's not good enough. I want to leave. I'm saying, oh, he don't love me right. I want to leave. You know. And I'm not saying if a man is abusing you, hitting on you, don't stay. Women do not stay. But if he's trying and he's just a good guy, y'all need to work on it. Work on it. Marriage is work. Every day is work. I love my wife every day. I don't like her every day.
But you've decided you'd love her for life.
I love her for life, but I don't like her.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Okay. Yeah. Don't just be out there saying you don't like her.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell them, I don't like you today, man. I don't like you today. But I love her every day. There's no day she can call me that I'm not willing to give her 150%. Even if I'm mad. Now, I might do it angrily. I'm going to still do it for her. Darren, hey, Mr. Darren,
yeah, good evening, Mr. Darren. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago, the island of the sun. Beautiful Trinity. Just lovely people here in Trinidad and Tobago. You look Trinidadian-ish. You look Caribbean.
How are you doing? It's an honor to be on anybody's platform to talk about anything. So I appreciate you, Mr. Doctor, inviting me out today and talk or give different insights. See, he's married. I'm not for sure about the Mr. Moore, what he is, and the therapist, what she is, but it can be a struggle from day to day. I was just having this conversation.
Are you single?
I'm engaged.
I was about to hook y'all up. You know what I'm saying?
That's almost
if you
married.
Called me about 6 months ago, then you might have caught me. But yes, I'm engaged right now.
Oh, congratulations. So. And how is your journey? And what made you choose her?
Timing. I read a book somewhere, he married her and chose me or something like that.
That book. I heard it's on Amazon, right?
Yeah, something like that. I heard somewhere it's about timing. So it's they always think they're ready, but the guy has to be ready because the guy has to choose a wife, is what the Bible says. Women can choose the guy all day long, but until he's ready, it don't mean nothing.
Wow. That's another thing.
I'm gonna make this
at least for me.
As easy as I possibly can. I've always said, women run the world. A woman is gonna make them. A woman can change how a man behaves.
True.
And I mean this by saying, if you accept saggy pants, dirty clothes, that's all a man has to do. That's what he's going to bring to the table. But if you expect more, they're going to step up. If women stop taking nonsense, there would be less nonsense. Because what was it? Well, what was it dressed in the 50s? How did black men dress in the 50s? Suits?
It depends on what men you're talking about. You're talking about guys in the working class or guys that just are hanging out at the street corner, or
all them old school pictures, they have ties on.
Yeah. Well, they dressed appropriately.
They dressed appropriately. And women, so if they dress like they did now, would a woman take them?
Probably not. Times have changed. They wouldn't, no. Well, everybody, they want the thug guy, they want the nice guy, but they want one guy all rolled up into one. I was telling a friend today, she was talking about if they made the same different amounts of money, that all her money wouldn't be all in. He had to pay for all the bills. Well, that's fine if that's the agreement that you all decide, and he's able to do that. But it's supposed to be two people, not one person. His money is not his money. It's our money together. Well, again, depending on who you talk to, if I'm a millionaire, you making $100,000, of course, my money, I'm going to take care of everything. But if I'm not making as much as you are, we need to have those discussions going in before we actually decide if we're going to be together, because that's a finance question that should be discussed in the process of dating. If that's what your end goal is, marriage, if that's the end goal.
If that's the end goal.
It has to be agreed upon by both parties if that's what you're deciding to do. Because if you're not, I'm looking to have fun and you're looking to get married. Well, I'm gonna have fun as much as I can. While I can, if you allow me to, is what Doctor was saying. If you allow us to keep coming by, like Steve Harvey say, if you want to come by 12 o'clock at night and only see you 12 o'clock at night, and you allow us to do that, that's what we're gonna keep doing.
Hey, my mother always was like, hell no, that don't happen on my watch.
We're going to put you in a box and we'll leave you in that box.
You know what? I'm going to tell this story. I ain't going to tell too much of this story. My wife's grandfather, may he rest in peace. When I came to Alabama, and that's a long story I will not get into right now, but they some country folks. We had to wake up, at crack of dawn. I didn't know roosters were real until I went to Alabama. But when I met this gentleman, he sat me down and talked to me for 2 hours, right? And so I had to sit there and listen. But it was interesting. And one thing he told me that, really had my ears perked up. He said, when I was young, I could have any woman I wanted. But when I met their grandmother, she was the only woman who wouldn't give me what I wanted. So I chose her.
How many years later?
I'm saying they were married until death do they part. Let me say that again. The woman who didn't give him what he wanted was the one he chased and one he ended up marrying for the rest of his life.
Can we be clear and say that was during the courting process, not after the marriage that was maintained?
No, you know what I'm saying? He had to court. He had to show up proper. He had to represent. He had to do all these things before he got even close to what he wanted. Right. And I'm, since it's, this is a gospel station, I ain't want to say it like I want to say it. We all know he didn't get what he wanted. He had to go.
We're still hunters. We're still hunters.
Yeah, we're still hunters. There you go.
Still hunters. If the prey is elusive and upfront in this time frame and say, hey, listen here, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this. You have to make the 90-day rule. Or you got to make 3 months on time and make sure that I know that you're into this before we go anywhere with this. But we don't have those conversations anymore. It's, get what you can get while you can. So, unfortunately.
Even when I was younger, you had this, we called it spitting game, right? You had to meet a young lady. You had to have the conversation, to interest her, to spend time with you. But if you could not interest her, she would say you whack and walk away. Nowadays, you don't even have to spit game. You hit each other on TikTok. Hey, you want to Netflix and chill? They coming over. When a lot of times you had to have whole conversations. And that conversation, we were talking on the phone, sitting on the phone till like 4:30 in the morning. Just, you awake? Yeah, I'm awake. We're going to sleep together on the phone. You had to do all that.
Yeah, a lot of stories about that. Being on the phone and nobody don't want to leave and that kind of thing.
Your mama catch you. What you doing on that phone, boy?
All up under the covers. Going to sleep on. You sleep? No, I'm not asleep yet.
Knowing you got to be up the next morning. That's what you had to do all that. You had to put in that work. What does work look like now?
Values have changed a little bit, just a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
How little is a little bit?
The women you say are looking, what are they looking for? Are they just saying a man?
They have a clear cut of what they want. Like I said, I'm talking to one lady today, but her views and values are a little bit stretched beyond measure. So I told you have to kind of readjust certain things you're looking for. You know, they want to be given things. They want showered with gifts. They want certain things that are capable, but those guys are not in your day-to-day life. I mean, you'd have to go a different place to find certain guys. If you want a corporate guy, you can't work at McDonald's. You have to be in the same place to see those people every day for them to see you. Because if you want a wealthy millionaire, he's not going to be coming to McDonald's and KFC where you work at, or at the local tax place that you'll get your taxes done. He may not see you, but there
he ain't gonna talk to you with that bonnet on your head.
Right. Guys will talk to women anywhere, but women won't talk to guys anywhere. We'll meet a girl at Walmart and enjoy and have a good conversation and talk all day long. Although she may be, you know, I have different levels of how I categorize women. You got Sharpstown Mall, you got Westwood Mall, and then you got Galleria kind of women. So, you know, I was telling her about my ranges of women that are out there. So that's how I categorize certain women. You know, it's bad to do that, but women do it to guys too all the time. They size us up before they even talk to us.
And when you have a friend who's single, ask them, are they ready for the storm? Right? Because a lot of women saying when a storm comes and the wind blows and the house is destroyed, they're not going to last.
So do you think it's women that call for divorce first more than men?
It's both. It's people. I'm not even talking about just men and women. You got to be ready for the storm. Like my grandmother said, you got to love they dirty draws. You got to love them when they fine and when they wake up in the morning with the slobber coming down their face and, you know what I'm saying, and breast stinking because they've been sleeping all night. You got to love both. And some people only love one version.
The one that they want to see.
He was fun back in the day.
We had date night back in the day. We don't do nothing no more. We just sit around and watch TV all day.
Yeah, but you grow and you change. It's like Adrian was saying.
You find you at? I need you to go.
You have a lot of sisters in Trinidad think like that. Because, I mean, they're sounding crazy. I mean, you mature and mature and there's change. It's evident. It's, you know, it's
but
just...
like what Moore said earlier, the images we receive on TV, the images that are in magazines and on commercials aren't the images that we're portraying to you today. And then you get, like I said, Real Houses of Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? You get, you know, Real Housewives of Compton. You get, that's the kind of man you get.
But then what do we do with our children? How do we craft what they learn to stay with them?
You have to talk to them.
Yes, and that's what I was saying earlier this evening. We can't talk enough.
Video games cannot raise your kids.
Exactly.
I'm from the latchkey generation. I spent a lot of time by myself. But I know what my mother expected. And my own children, I just tell them. I ask them what they're thinking. And I say, man, you don't sugarcoat it for me. Just tell me what you're thinking. This is not, as long as you say it with respect, we're going to have a conversation. Respect. You see how that word went? We're going to have a conversation. And then I'm going to tell you honestly, and you give me your honest feedback. Because if kids are too smart nowadays, they going to know when you're lying.
Well, they always did.
They going to know when you're
They just tell you now.
Yeah.
They definitely
they know
tell
when
you.
you're not happy, so be honest with your kids and tell them what they expect. Because if you don't, when they go out there and they find out, and if you lie to them, they're going to be upset with you. My mama didn't tell me. My daddy didn't tell me this. She told me about everything else. Didn't tell me about this.
Darren, before you came, I was asking a question about professional women. Where are you from?
Houston.
Houston as well. Okay.
I'm right down the street from Dr. Wood here.
Okay. Yeah, I was asking the question about professional women. If you think they're unapproachable, but just now I heard you talking about you categorize women differently. So, would you think professional women are unapproachable?
Well, that comes down to the guys. It um comes down to the guy more than the woman. If as Dr. Wood said, if you spitting right, your spitting goes universal. It doesn't matter where you go. If you can talk to a woman and really they just want general conversation, you ain't got to really be hollering at somebody. You can just go up and say, hey, you look nice today, and keep it moving. They will remember that next time they see you, because they will probably see you again. Talking to women is universal. It's just it's what you say, not how you say it. It's the same thing where I met a woman at Walmart, and I use the same line if I met somebody at corporate America downtown in the park shop. If I'm bold enough to go talk to a woman in Walmart that's on an aisle that I don't need nothing on, I'm sure enough strong enough to go talk to a woman at the Chick-fil-A line. How you doing today? You doing all right there? You look nice today. Keep it moving. But if I had a hidden agenda, which we do, but you know.
Yeah, well, I would say this. I would say, as far as the corporate woman question, I think that's kind of speaking towards the concept of being intimidated. And that's a word that gets used quite often, you know, that men are intimidated by strong women or successful women. And I'm sure that there are men who are intimidated. It is not a hard and fast rule that all men are intimidated by your success or your strength or your willingness to speak up for yourself. In fact, in a lot of cases, that's attractive.
It helps out.
We want to know when we're down, you can help us out.
I would say that it's important, as you were speaking earlier, you know, if we're going to pick up these little jewels, pick that one up. That there's not intimidation from the men that would really be interested in committing to something with you. They're not intimidated by your success. They're encouraging your success. They're not intimidated by your power or strength. They're attracted to your power and strength. The only issue is when that power and strength creates unnecessary conflict with us. And that's the difference. If it's used to uplift us and push us in the same direction, if we're pulling in the same direction, which is a biblical concept, then it's ideal. But if we're pulling in two different directions, that's when you're going to hear what is being portrayed as intimidation.
A woman will go to a job, work for a boss, listen to everything they say. They say you be here at 9, they're there at 9. They say file these papers, they file these papers. They don't even really question. But then you go home and you argue with your husband or your mate over simple things that you just let somebody else tell you like how they wanted to tell you. That doesn't make sense. Which one's more important?
The question should be, I know you said guys approaching or corporate women, are they approachable? Are they happy with themselves? You know, because there are a lot of strong guys out there that would go talk to him, but dang, she look kind of mean. You know, she don't look pleasant or happy, or she doesn't look like she need a man. So why do I need to go over there and get my feelings hurt because she thinks she's here and I'm here? So, you know, it's a twofold question.
So how does she look when she need a man?
Huh?
How does she look when she need a man?
No, not need a man, but be inviting.
Right.
I tell women, are you being approachable?
Right.
Are you approachable? Approachable doesn't mean you're being easy.
Right.
Are you being in places where somebody can find you? Right. Somebody can speak to you. And when they speak to you, are you open to conversation? If somebody approaches you with a hello, or how you doing? Just because they didn't say the most romantic, ideal thing in the world, don't shoot them down. But some women do that.
A little smile.
Smile and say, and
that goes a whole long way.
Doesn't cost you anything. A conversation doesn't cost you anything, and you don't know if that conversation grows, more intense, and so you start to like him instead of dismissing him. Are you making yourself available?
So you all hear that, ladies, okay? Are you making yourself available? He did not say easy. He said available. Know the difference. And I think that is to differentiate. Many times they think it probably means easy, but no, it's approachable.
If you sitting
Right.
at the house in your pajamas when you get off work all day, who gonna find you?
Hmm.
Do you want to be found?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
they
you
want
want
to
to
be
be found?
found.
And the misconception is that he'll find me. The right one will find me. Well, of course he'll find you, but you got to put yourself out there. At
Hmm.
least go every now and then to a happy hour.
See, and I don't even like meeting women in bars. I'm talking about church, grocery
But
store,
those are
a
there too.
park, somewhere where people are. That somebody can say hello. Somebody can see you and say, "Oh man, that's a nice looking woman." Don't go
Now,
to the. I don't say the club because who's going to the club really? If you're 40 years old or you're 30 years old, I'm saying you find a 30, 40-year-old man in the club. I'm saying he's there for for a reason too.
So
And
just
usually it
make
ain't
yourself
just to find
approachable.
his wife.
What's a turn off? A red flag,
I
a
mean, I'm
turn off.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Think attitude. Thinking they're above here and you can't do this for me and why I got you? Why do I need you? Attitude for me it's demeanor, character, the basic stuff, but that attitude really gets me. Everybody's got their pit peeves, but attitude it is for me. If you're calm and easy to talk to, that's one thing. But when you got a stink attitude and think you're entitled to a lot of things, okay, you show right. You are entitled. I may not be the one to give it to you, but you are definitely entitled to it.
Mine is over opinionated. I mean, if you're over opinionated, that is a turnoff. If I say, "Oh, the sky is blue," and you want to argue me down that the sky is purple, no, I don't want to talk to you. If I'm saying, if I say I like, you know, comedies and you like romance, why you like romance? What's about? Oh no, 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 this not gonna work because now I'm thinking about punching you in the face and not marrying
Okay.
you.
Let's not.
Then no domestic violence. I know your turn more.
Don't do that, though.
Sebastian.
Yeah, I would say for me, lack of accountability. If we cannot talk to each other about the things that where we might have fallen short, whether it be in a relationship or otherwise, whether it be keeping your word, then that's a huge thing. The idea that you might say, I'm gonna do a thing, and then if I were to hold you accountable, say, hey, you said you were gonna do a thing, you were gonna start a thing, you were gonna try a thing, and you get upset with me for bringing it up, that's very, very frustrating because we should be mutually accountable. That's the only way we're going to get better.
Right.
Or if you make a mistake and you cannot, you're trying to find somewhere he made a mistake to blame him, and you're not focusing on making it right. You're focusing on you just don't want to be wrong.
Well, yeah, that's accountability. Just
That's why
accepting.
I was chiming in with you.
Yeah, yeah, that's just accepting your part, being being a part of the team, and that doesn't mean that everything is your fault or you should be walking around taking blame for things that are not your fault. But if we're in a relationship, then a lot of times maybe my part was just that I let it go on so long, or that I didn't speak up any sooner, or that I wasn't honest about how I felt. Well, then that's still a part that I need to own up to. Hey, I should have done this part, or I could have done better about that part. And if
And
we're in a space where we can't do that, that creates problems.
and be willing to say I'm wrong. I apologize and be sincere about it. It's not that you say it, it's being sincere and say, hey, baby, I apologize. I should have did exactly what you said, or I didn't do it. You're right. I apologize. And accountability basically still also.
How important is trust for men?
Super.
Mhm. I don't think it's any less important than it is for women. I think we have
Exactly.
That goes up there with respect.
definitions of what falls under trust, but it's it's huge. I think we're more along the lines of can I trust you not to go behind my back and do the thing you said you weren't gonna do, or are you gonna try to find information out behind my back or do a thing and not tell me about it? So it's the things that we're looking for trust in might be different, but trust is huge for anybody, regardless of gender.
Especially when
If
you're coming in after not so good trust, or you had your previous relationship was the trust was the issue. It's hard to fall back in that and start it all over again because every relationship is a new relationship, however you look at it, good, bad, or indifferent.
and if can I trust you to have my best interest at heart when I'm down? If things are going rough, are you going to choose you or are you going to choose us?
Choose us.
Because uh, you would think that.
But and then you'll know exactly how committed she is too. I mentioned that earlier. We want to know that you all in as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be all in because we're men. We're going to take care and protect and support you, but we want to know that you're all in as well. Not halfway in and well, I'm just going to see if he make the first 2 or 3 years and then I'll know if I'm all in. Then I know he's serious. If he's going to pay my car note on time and not miss a payment, then I know he all in. If I know he's going to do this and I know he's all in. We're all in. One, because we gave you a ring. Two, because we said we marry you. Two, three, we're living together. We're trying to make this thing work. At least give it your all initially. And if things change, things happen, we grow, mature, or we get immature along the way, that happens as well too. So,
But if you grow together, that's trust too. That's, you know what I'm saying, you're willing, I can trust you to come with me as I'm going to come with you.
right.
You know, I'm saying as I grow and I change a little bit, I can trust you to still love me on my journey as I love you on yours. Because some people say, oh, we just grew apart. Well, growing apart just doesn't happen. You've seen the signs, but you chose to do what you wanted to do. I'm saying I'm a big fan of comic books. My wife will go to a comic book convention with me.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Then you got to trust them. You're going to be where you say you're going to be. Well, I'm going to go out here with the girls. All right. If I ain't got no reason not to trust you, I don't care.
Have fun. I'll be here when you get home.
But what you
Right.
said, about the comic books, yeah, I heard a couple talk about her husband. She didn't like tennis, and her husband liked playing tennis. And she went and learned. She bought books on how to play tennis. So when they go on vacation, they could do it together. But that wasn't her thing at all. And now, hey, every time they go, she makes sure she pack her. And who love tennis more than her? you know.
Yeah.
Because you got to, if it's just about what you want to do or what you want or what you think, it's not going to work. She likes going to the mall and going to, what's that place with the lotions and stuff? Bath and Body.
It works.
I got to be able to walk my tail in the Bath and Body. And she said, ooh, look at this moon drop. Ooh, baby, that smells good. I don't care about that moon drop. But I got to at least know that's her favorite scent.
For future reference.
I hate
Paying
any of them reality
attention,
shows.
paying attention.
You
I
have
hate
to pay
anything
attention.
with drama. I hate all them shows. But I can walk in there. I may not fully watch them with her, but I can walk in and say, hey, didn't no dude die? Well, what happened after he died? And I don't really like this show. I don't watch it really, but I watch it enough that I can discuss it with my spouse
Right.
because that's what she likes.
Oh, that's real. That's real. Doing the other things to bring that kind of harmony together. That's what I'm hearing, and that would cause such an awesome cohesion and being selfless in the relationship. Wow.
And that selflessness is hard for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Even men, it's hard for men too. Because we're speaking as I'm saying good men. There's still dogs. There's still abusers. There's still money users. There's still all that. So you got to be careful, women, just like we have to be careful. Sometimes y'all have to be more careful than we do.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying they're not out there. But don't think as soon as you meet me that I'm that person.
Got you.
Because your last boyfriend was a creep doesn't mean I'm a creep.
Right. Every relationship is a new one, starting all over again.
But usually people drag in their old stuff.
Hmm.
I'm saying when you came in, you should have had a yard sale. I'm a catchphrase that right there. I'm a catchphrase that. I think that was a good one.
And also, when you meet people, you have to make sure you, as we said before, we have to discuss what's on the menu. There are certain things that are on the menu that we're willing to discuss, and there's other things we're not. But the time that you add something different to the menu, we should be able to discuss what's been added to the menu.
Mm-hmm.
If sex wasn't on the menu, then okay, well, we're cool with that. I agree what's on the menu. Let's do exactly what's on the menu. But the moment you say, well, come on and lay down with me and let's do this together and let's do this. Well, hold on now. It wasn't on the menu. Are we adding things to the menu as we go along? That's cool, but we need to discuss it. So we're both on the same page.
And don't do something you're uncomfortable with, because I'm about to hear about it later. You know what I'm saying? Every woman out there has sit there and said, has laid down too soon, did something too soon. Then later on that man got to hear about, we did that and I just wasn't comfortable. I just did it for you, but now, I don't feel right. Then why did we do it? Because now instead of enjoying it, now instead of enjoying this, now I feel bad because you feel bad. I don't want you to feel bad. And now what I thought was a good moment is not.
It's a bad situation.
And and that's part of that trust. So how do we come back from this?
I'm going to ask a hard question, Adrian.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm going to ask a hard question. And then I'll go to one of your easy questions. How do you suggest someone overcome infidelity in a relationship?
Oh, snap. See, right there.
What was the question again? Say, how do you do what now?
Overcome infidelity.
In the current relationship or going forward?
You take that one. Go ahead, brother.
No, in the current relationship.
Ooh.
Told you it was a hard question.
I'm going to tell you this. It takes work on both sides. There is a reason somebody cheats. And just because somebody cheats doesn't mean a cheater can't change their stripes. I hate that saying. For men, usually they didn't go out there because, ooh, they seen her. Well, sometimes, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes we just seen. But most of the time, it's something at home that didn't fulfill us as a man. And it could be just not sex. It could be you disrespected me on a regular basis. I'm saying you didn't want to talk to me. You talked to me bad. This person made me feel good about myself. And that leads, just like women. And women, oh, he sang me a poem. He paid attention to me. He listened to me when I wanted to talk. There's a reason. And the person who cheated got to be open and willing to tell the person who was cheated on. But then the person who cheated needs to be man or woman enough to make amends. If you're not willing to make amends, are you really sorry? Because if you say you're sorry and go on like business as usual, now the person who was cheated on is holding all kinds of animosity. You must now fix what you broke. And they also I'm not saying they don't got to do their work too, because if you didn't feel like a man, they need to change and make you feel like a man. But you have trust to earn that.
A lot.
You know what I'm saying? You have self-respect to give back. You know what I'm saying? You got hurt to heal. So if you think that's it, that's all. And I hate that saying. If you think that's it, that's all, you selfish and it's not gonna work. I'm saying it takes both to be able to say, okay, I want to be with this. How do we fix this? If you're not willing to fix it, what did I say earlier? When you're not willing to change, what happens? Divorce. That's when divorce happens, when two people are unwilling to change.
Sebastin, the therapist.
All that.
He say all of that.
Yeah, that's a difficult question. Not because it's not a straightforward solution, but because when you're talking about anything emotional, it's not cut and dry. So if we wanted to try to simplify it, we have to decide one,
Do you want it?
up front, do I want to be married to this person? And then I have to decide, am I willing to forgive this person? And what is it I need from them to help me get to that space? But understand, it's not all on them to make you forgive. That is still your choice to forgive, whether they do or not. It's always your choice. And if you're the person that did the wrong, you have to be willing to go through the fire, understanding that this person has to start from the very beginning with how they see you, because they don't see you the same, and right, justifiably so.
Wow, we're getting some questions, some now. They want you all to speak to the contributing factor. Dr. Woods, you were talking that there may be some contributing factors. So they want to know, what are some of the contributing factors you're talking about?
So what you mean? To what?
To cheating.
Because a man, okay, I told this to somebody before. I think Moore was there when I told him this. A woman wants to be told they're pretty.
Hmm?
A woman wants to be told they look nice, right? A man also has a similar want. I'm saying we have the male ego. The male ego is real, and a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, you got to get rid of that ego." No, to be a man, you got to push it to the side a little sometimes, but it's still there. So if you're not, man is made in whose image?
God.
And what does God want? Praise. So I'm saying, so man wants praise too. If he picks up, saying, Reverend Sapp said it, I'm saying the best. Man picks up one bag of groceries, you say, man, look at my man pick up them groceries. Guess what's gonna happen next time? He gonna pick up 6 bags of groceries because he wants to hear that again from you. Oh, baby, I like how you scrub that floor. Guess what? That man gonna be on his spending me scrubbing that floor because my woman likes how I spend, and she noticed and she gave me that compliment. Oh, baby, you been like you working out? Yeah, girl, look, I'm saying I've been getting it. Right? We want to be wanted too. And when when all you do is complain, when you think I got him, so I don't need to do anything else, because yeah, women's bodies change. We understand that. We're grown men. There's gonna be marks where there wasn't marks. There's gonna be a little bit more where it wasn't. We don't care about that. If you're a grown man and you get older, you know. But you can smell nice, put something nice on. I'm saying make the effort like I'm important. I'm saying cook me a meal. Sometimes, and we're not talking about 6-course meals, sometimes make me some hamburger helper because I know you had a busy day, but my woman cared enough to make me a hamburger helper and some garlic bread. So now I feel like the man because when I got home, she gave me that plate. But when you don't make a man feel like a man, somebody's going to make him feel like the man.
Yep, he will go somewhere else.
I'm saying, and I've heard the statement, why do I gotta make him feel like a man? He should already know he a man. You know you a woman. Why do I gotta tell you pretty? Right? I'm saying, why do I gotta do that? I had another educated person told me, I told him, because I am quick to say, I ain't get married to cook. Do I cook? Yeah, I cook. I'm saying I'm able to cook. I cook sometimes. I'm not saying, ooh, you my slave and you gotta cook all the time. I'm just saying I prefer a woman who can cook. They said, oh, why can't you cook for yourself? I'm saying you better take care of yourself. If I gotta take care of myself,
then you can be by yourself.
Stay by myself. Yeah. And my words were, if what is the point of being married if I don't see any benefits? if I'm taking care of myself, I'm washing my own clothes, I'm cleaning up after myself, I'm cooking my own food, I'm making my own money, you know what I'm saying, I'm loving myself, you know what I'm saying, I could have done that for my own crib. I could have loved you over there. We were good when I was saying coming through, you know what I'm saying, help you with your groceries at 2 in the afternoon and went back to my own spot. We decided to do this together. So make me want to be there. The house should be a man's peace. If it's not peace, he don't want to go home. He want to be. He gonna find that peace.
Wow. Very, 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 very interesting. You know, every time I have conversations with men, there's so much value that comes to the table that I think time and time again we need to hear it over and over again so it can change the course of our thinking, and then we can add to how we connect and how we communicate with our men. It'll be great to have you guys with the woman, and they are asking the questions as well as and that really brought some clarity, what you were saying there, to what they wanted to find out. And to those all on Facebook as well. I have to really, really send shout outs to everybody on Facebook. I'm seeing Miss Roberts from the UK. I'm seeing Dean Martin, Alicia. Oh my goodness. Suan. Everybody that's there. I can't call everybody name. But it's great to have all you all locked on, and I know that they are receiving, and it will help. And even as we go into Revival 2022, and you know, we have topics for male and female, I think the single woman, it's more, and even the young woman, it's value that they can have in how they approach and make themselves available. Not easy. Available doesn't mean easy, okay? Welcoming. All right? So that he can find you. So you won't look unapproachable as well, and that kind of thing. And it's just a look, you know? A little nod. Somebody pays you a compliment, saying thank you is okay. It'll be like, you know, it's a compliment, so you can say thank you. You know? That's just the pleasantries. We all like the compliments. So gentlemen, any other highlights that you all would like to bring to the table before we go?
I always like to say, go ahead, More. You can go first. I talk a lot. Go ahead.
Very briefly that everyone should have their own therapist. And I'm saying this as a professional and a person. Everyone should have their own therapist because we oftentimes bring our personal things from prior to that relationship into our relationship, and we don't recognize how it's negatively impacting the relationship.
I agree.
You have to work on your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we talk about doing couples counseling, and that is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that working on our stuff
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really address your stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the sad thing is, what I've realized is that some persons believe that they don't need a therapist, and they bring the issues to the other party, but they're not qualified to handle all that is coming at them. There's a particular grace for the connection, and there's a particular another set of grace for a therapist to deal with. And I think it's important because of some persons go through a lot of different trauma, you know, a lot of different things in their past relationships that they would have thought they would have gotten over, but talking with someone makes a huge difference. So I really agree with that.
Therapist is talking on the phone for free.
Yeah, and that's support. But sometimes your friend may not tell you. They may tell you what you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
Not
it
more.
wouldn't. Right, but it'll tell. But you need to know what could help you become better and what would help you overcome and be stronger and forgive. And I really agree with that. Yeah, have your own therapist before you have your couples therapist or your couples counseling, but it's important. Yeah.
As you go in revival, one of my favorite things to say is equally yoked.
Yes.
We talked about meeting people. We talked about if a man has money. We talk about woman's position. You have to find somebody to match you. And that person, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they got to be on your level. I'm not talking about money.
No, you're
Right.
correct. You're very
looks.
correct. Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about saying, do you understand one another?
Mm-hmm.
Do they believe what you want? Do you do what I believe? Because if he's going to be your leader and you're going to be willing to submit, does he go? Ask him where did he plan to go? I've never seen nothing wrong with that question. Because if you want her to come with you, you got to have a vision, and you got to be able to express that vision so she sees the potential in you, and so she wants to help you. I'm saying complete that vision, And so if you're both equally yoked, and women just don't take it whatever any man. He got to be, I'm saying, make him step correct. Make him, I'm saying, present himself in a respectable manner so that when you introduce him to your mother, you are proud. So that way you are equally yoked, y'all together, and you can go forward in harmony.
Yeah, I like to put a caveat there, because that word "make him" kind of sounds like the fixing thing we talked about before. It is not your job to make him do anything. It is your job to pick someone that's doing the things that you're looking for, versus trying to train, teach, make, force him
Encourage.
to do things.
You could encourage.
Don't allow somebody to step to you that is not presenting themselves in the correct manner.
Yeah, so encourage is okay, but if you're saying, he presents himself on this level, but by the time I introduce him to my mom, I want him on this level, you're creating work for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You should pick someone that's already working towards that level so that you can say, hey, this is my mom, this is really important. And that's all you would need to say, because he's already in that space that I want to present myself in a certain light versus present myself for you.
Got you. Darren.
I would say live your life, have some standards, express those standards, and live by those standards. Don't ask someone to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. Comes back to accountability and some other things that we talked about during the show. We just want to make sure and don't take past relationships into new relationships, or at least try not to. As Sebastin said, it's hard not to bring past into the present going forward, but we learn and we learn from our past not to do it over again. So it's kind of hard to separate the two. Well, at least for certain people, it's hard to separate the two. If it's an easy transition, you got no problem, just continue moving on, but have some standards, live by those standards, and hold them accountable. Hold everybody accountable. If you hold everybody accountable, things will be much better for his communication, for his respect, for his approachability, all those things we talked about tonight. Just live your life, find out what you want, and be honest and tell what you want up front. Don't hold it back for another 6 months, and we'll see if he makes it. Tell him what you want up front. If he can either deal with it or he can't deal with it.
One thing before I go, Dr. Woods, I saw something. She learned me to earn me. Learning, how important is it learning your partner as you go along the journey? I think, well, obviously, we said it throughout the evening, but actually learning, you all mentioned a lot about it and understanding your partner.
It's important to learn your partner. You need to be the expert in your partner. I'm saying that doesn't mean you're going to know everything they're thinking. That doesn't mean you're going to be able to pick everything they're picking. Because if I go to the store and I ask my wife what she wants and she says nothing, guess what I'm coming home with? Nothing. Right? But she also knows me to say, oh, if I don't say something, he's not going to bring it home. So you don't sit there and expect them to know you. Like I said, teach them about you and be able to learn about you. ask the questions. Don't ask a simple question, what's your favorite color? That will come.
If you pay attention. If you pay attention.
Pay attention. What do you like to do? And when you like to do that, let's do it together. I want to do it with you. Be willing to do it with you. It's not just about you, it's about y'all. And when you're willing to open yourself up and actually be interested in your partner, that becoming an expert in your partner is easy. Because if you really love them, I'm saying, you are interested in them. And if you're interested in them, I'm saying you focus on that. That's not your only focus, but hey, I like comic books, so I know a lot about comic books. Well, if I love my wife, I should know a lot about my wife.
And what she likes.
And what she likes and what she wants to do and what she doesn't like. Trust me, I know a lot of what she don't like.
That's the easy side.
Well, gentlemen, really, really want to give you a big thank you for taking the time out to come and share with us in Trinidad and Tobago on the #1 family station, Isaac 98.1 FM, The Promise. So you all can see what we did this evening on our YouTube, and it's on Facebook as well. And I sent you a copy of the link, and I'll probably do it again, so you all can go back and see and visit us for Revival. You all can chime in. We're going to be having a lot of discussions on male and female. We're going to have women segments, we're going to have male segments, family segments. It's really exciting. Actually, we have some speakers from overseas as well. And it's just a good time now to be sharing. And, it's like everybody has a story, and it helps someone going through so much. You all said this evening that I know many persons can identify with and then can help others who didn't even know, this could have been an option, and I can do this a little better. Or maybe, if change how I do this, maybe I might get a better result, right? And it's all about that, bringing that kind of harmony in relationships. So thank you again. Look forward to interacting with you in the near future.
If I visit, I'm knocking on your door, just know.
Definitely. We have a lot of doubles. We have roti. I don't know if you all know what roti is, but one night when you all are on, I'll probably bring 1 or 2 little things to show you all what it's like.
Okay.
Yes. Lots of nice food in Trinidad. Oh, Trinidadians can cook. Trini women love to cook. Yeah. So it's been great.
Jasmine Courtward Cloud Croft.
All right.
Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.
Adrian, send me the link so I can get it too.
All right, I got you. I just sent it to you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.